And here it is. So here we go. So this is just a short little session just to, hopefully I'm being heard, by the way. I can't see anyone here. Hold on, I can hear myself back now. So let me just all right. So as I was saying, this is just a short little session, just to document some of the goings on within the political space. Of course, we'll still be having a latter session, but we're just doing this now. This micro mini session really, just to document some of the goings on within the political space. So document just some of the goings on within the political space. It's essentially just going to be a readout. I have posted the link if anybody wants to join. I don't have the anticipation that there'll be too many people hopping on, but nevertheless, let's just do this. So let's just do this just to document some of the stories going on. I'll do this for the rest of the week. So tomorrow I'll do a mini session, which is essentially around readouts and analysis. And then, of course, we'll have the latter session, which is our big session for the day. So let's go immediately to it. It's just really some of those satellite little stories that don't make it into the main session. So we're documenting them here and now. So let's go ahead and do exactly that. So let me not ramble too much. Just the usual protocol. Click on like, click on subscribe, and of course, yes, essentially, the two things I'm insisting on is that you click on like and subscribe, and at your discretion, if you want to come and join me, click on that hyperlink that says StreamYard. I'm not really pushing that too hard. I'll have that conversation if you want it, but this is going to wrap very much around just the readouts. So this wraps around the readouts, and let's read this out. Good news. Nigeria successfully repays China World Bank orders $3.07 billion debt. Department of DMO, that's the department of, what department is that, by the way? Let's just check. Anyway, we get to that during the readout. So good news, Nigeria successfully repays China World Bank others $3.07 billion debt. DMO gives balance. So much to the chagrin of the naysayers, it looks as though Tinubu might well know what he's doing. Data released by the Central Bank of Nigeria CBN has shown the total amount of external debt servicing in 2023 from January to September. So I wonder why they are showing it from January to September, because the financial cycle within the Nigerian space is a calendar year. So why from January to September? Because the year completes financially in December. So, but we'll probably get to that in the course of the readout. Data released by the Central Bank of Nigeria, CBN, has shown the total amount of external debt servicing in 2023 from January to September. During the 10 months, the nation paid $3.07 billion in servicing its external debt. So now, the pertinent word, the operative word in that particular sentence is servicing. So servicing a debt, of course, is a totally different narrative from paying down a debt. So when you're servicing a debt, a lot of you carry debt, so you don't really need me to explain what servicing a debt means to you. But for the benefit of the I was going to say for the benefit of the law of wheat. So let me just say that for the benefit of the law of wheat, servicing a debt essentially means paying down the debt enough in a fraction, and then of course paying some fractional interest as well. So let's say, for instance, you are carrying a debt of 100 naira and you are paying 10 naira a month. So 4 naira out of those 10 out of that 10 naira goes towards paying down the volume of that debt, and then 6 naira goes towards the interest servicing. So the interest payment. So that's what a servicing a debt is. So that servicing a debt is a totally different narrative from paying off a debt. So have that as a backdrop as we continue to read on. During the 10 months, the nation paid $3.07 billion in servicing its foreign debt. The amount represents an increase of $850 million or 38.31% over the $2.22 billion it spent during the same time in 2022. A breakdown of the data showed that the service, the, a breakdown of the data showed that to service its external debt, the government spent $112.35 million in January, 288.54 million dollars in February, and 400 etc. million dollars in March. In addition, so it goes on to give us all that breakdown. I'm not quite sure that is essentially. Correspondents reported that the federal government paid $1.17 billion to service foreign debt commitments in the first half of 2023. The country's significant lenders include China, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the Islamic Development Bank, Japan, France, and others. So now, our biggest debts, I think, are with China at the moment, and we are significantly borrowing from the African Development Bank as well, because of course we have our man as the czar of that bank, and he, of course, then facilitating for sweetheart deals for the Nigerian state. The country's significant lenders include China, the World Bank, the African Development Bank, the Islamic Development Bank, Japan, France, and others. The debt management, so that's what DMO means. The debt management office, DMO data showed that the outstanding total public debt, external and internal, summed up to $114 billion or 87.91 trillion naira as of September the 30th. So now, so that gives you then a capture. So let me highlight it as well. That gives you then a capture of the total sovereign debt of the Nigerian state. So maybe you want to deduct that $2 billion or whatever it is that Tinubu paid off or not, but that gives you a rough prism of where the total debt of the Nigerian state is, $114 billion approximately. So now, how are you looking at that? You have to look at that vis-a-vis the size of the Nigerian state and the size of the Nigerian economy. The Nigerian economy, of course, one of the top 30 economies in the world, essentially. So the Nigerian economy, one of the top 30 economies within the world. So with $114 billion debt, would you say I would suggest that the country is under leveraged, not over leveraged, but under leveraged. The economy can comfortably insulate that debt, and of course, if they refactor that debt, really, because you see these debts now, because they're owed to certain types of institutions, you can just you can refinance them or refactor them to the point that it's almost set to zero. You can have this debt now refactored to a 50, 75-year lifespan, which then resets the yearly burden of that debt to near zero. So Nigeria is under leveraged in terms of borrowing. And of course, but a lot of this debt, by the way, if you remove the $14 billion, the $100 billion was stolen by Buhari and was it Abubakar Malami and the rest of them, of course. So if Tinubu is able to recover that, we don't know. The Debt Management Office, DMO, data showed that the outstanding total public debt, external and internal, summed up to be $114 billion as of September the 30th. The external debt makes up 41.5 $36.59 billion, 36.38%, and domestic debt makes up $72.76 billion, 63.62%. So now, you know that's domestic debt. Don't confuse your mind to think that because it is domestic, it can either be written off or it can be bullied out of existence. It's still a debt that carries an international dimension, because a lot of these debts will come from the ways and means that we had under Emefiele, when he was just printing money and futuring them on as a burden to the Nigerian state. So a lot of that comes from ways and means, but a lot also comes from lending from actual financial institutions within the Nigerian prism. So don't then, like I said, don't confuse that because the debt is internal, then it can be managed differently. There's an international attachment to it, and if you don't pay this debt, these banks will just go to London, New York, and attach the debt to the Nigerian state, and they'll send in the bailiff. So these are real, actual debts, even if they are domesticized. The external debt makes up $41.59 billion, 36.38%, and domestic debt makes up $72.76 billion, 63.62%. Domestic debt include the federal government of Nigeria at the 30s. So the domestic debt, because when the state governors when they go borrowing, both internal and externally, they actually borrow with the surety of the Nigerian state, which is essentially the totality of the entity of the Nigerian state. So when a state goes to borrow money, for instance, what backs that money is the federal presence. So as the guarantor of last resort, the federal presence, because when they go to lend this money, the lender is assured then that if they lack the capacity to pay, they can just attach that debt to the federal space, and whatever comes to that state federally, the lender then gets the first dibs from that. So do you understand? So everything comes under the Nigerian banner, but the borrowing, it cascades to wherever the borrowing comes from. I hope that's not too convoluted for you to understand. Domestic debt includes the federal government of Nigeria, so that's the federal borrowing. The 36 states, the 36 state governments and the Federal Capital Territory. According to the Department of the Debt Management Office, according to the DMO, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) official exchange rate of $1 to 768 naira of September, as of September 30th, was used. Let me read that again. That's just not reading right. According to the DMO, the Central Bank of Nigeria (CBN) official exchange rate of $1 to 768 naira as of September the 30th, 2023, was used in converting external debt to naira. So now that external, because it's a very fluid space, the external debt, because of course, if you naira-nize the external debt, then it is higher or lower based on the exchange rate. So as of September 2023, the naira was exchanging for 768 naira, and that was the conversion to arrive at that total sum. But then, of course, the story changes under this date and time. So Tinubu's government continues repayment of loan collected under Buhari reduces Nigeria's external debt. Correspondents reported that the administration of President Bola Tinubu has reduced Nigeria's external debt stock by $1.57 billion to $41.59 billion as of September the 30th, 2023, from the $43.16 billion it stood in June 2023. This is according to the third quarter public debt report published by the Debt Management, I keep wanting to call it department, published by the Debt Management Office, DMO. The decline, DMO said, is due to the redemption of Nigeria's $500 million euro bonds and the first principal payment of 413 million dollars from the IMF $3.4 billion loan obtained during the 2020 COVID-19 period. So they used that COVID window to borrow cheap loans, which of course would have been looted by Abubakar Malami, Malam Buhari, and the rest of them. So there it is right there. So there is it. There it is rather right there. So there that is right there, and here this is. Dewale, if you want to hop on for a moment, you can hop on to keep me company. All right, so there it is right there, and here this is right here. So let's go to football for a moment. As Nigeria now enters the knockout phase of the African Nations Cup, see the 10 nations that have qualified for the 16 for round 16. So of course this is now the knockout phase. See the 10 nations that have qualified for round 16. Usually Nigeria gets home before their postcards in all these international events, and I have no expectation that they will go past this round 16 because all they've packed the team with are all these UK-based sort of people that have no concept of, they can't even speak a lick of any Nigerian word. Well, they're all British, whatever it is, with Nigerian parentage. So it's just a bunch of and they are lower league sort of people as well. They're not the top echelon of the English game. So let's go through this. A total of 10 teams have secured their spot in the upcoming 2023 Africa Cup of Nations round 16, following the conclusion of matches in groups C and D on Tuesday night. Teams like Equatorial Guinea, Nigeria, Senegal, Cape Verde, and Egypt have successfully advanced, along with Cameroon, Burkina Faso, Angola, Guinea, and Mauritania. So now let's now see where the threat is to Nigeria. I don't envisage a threat from Equatorial Guinea, and Senegal is a one-man team. Sadio Mane. So we remove Sadio Mane, and there is no team there. I didn't even know they knew what football was in Cape Verde. Egypt a strong team, but Mo Salah not there. Cameroon strong as well. Burkina Faso, I don't know their quantity. Angola, I'm pretty sure they have no quantity. Guinea and Mauritania. So really the tournament then between Nigeria, Senegal, Egypt, and Cameroon. A thrilling match unfolded as Cameroon triumphed over Gambia with a 3-2 victory, setting the stage for an exciting face-off against Nigeria in the next round. So we're up against Cameroon in the next round. So that is to tell you then that Nigeria goes home just fairly shortly. Because, of course, the Nigeria has never really had the beating of Cameroon, and they take a special delight in giving us a flogging. Angola secured so yeah, we just leave it at the Nigerian one, and then that's that done. So that's that done. Let's go on to this one. I'll give you just a couple more readouts, and then I will just cap it there. Like I said, it's just a short little soupçon, nothing heavy, nothing heavy going. Full list: Governor Soludo, Yusuf, 7 others who are ready to buy convicted kidnappers in their states. So I'm only really bringing you this because now it has to be measure for measure now. All this kidnapping that is going on within the Nigerian space. If you are caught and there is firm and sufficient enough convicting evidence, then it should be that should be the end of Solomon Grundy for you. So you cannot go around raging and slaughtering people and then expect some sort of soft gloved criminal justice system when you get caught. Governor Soludo Yusuf, seven others who are ready to pie convicted kidnappers in their states. Uh, right, correspondents reported that no fewer than 10 states have vowed to begin the implementation of death sentences and life imprisonment for anyone found guilty of the act. Speaking through Sanusi, this is Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf of Kano State. Speaking through Sanusi Tofa, the state's Director General of Media and Publicity, Governor Yusuf confirms that his administration will begin the application of the anti-kidnapping law, which prescribes a death sentence for anyone found guilty in Kano. Tofa said, we will continue with the death sentence on kidnappers as approved by the immediate past administration. And this is Reverend Hyacinth Aliyah of Benue State. The Reverend Father spoke through the State Attorney General and Commissioner for Justice and Public Order, Fidelis, whatever. I never knew that Benny was such a strong Christian base, expressing commitment to the implementation of anti-kidnapping laws, which spelled out death sentences for the convict. The Benue State Commissioner disclosed that several suspects of kidnappings are already arraigned before the court. So there it is right there. Bayelsa State ditto. Charles Soludo of Anambra State ditto. An official in the Ministry of Justice disclosed that the State House of Assembly has amended its criminal code and made kidnapping an offense that was punishable by death for any convicted person, the official said. For now, what the law says is that it is an effect. Let's do it again. For now, what the law says is that it is an offense punishable by death for anyone convicted of kidnapping. And if there will be a review to accommodate life sentence, it is the state assembly that will make the decision. So that's the position in Anambra State. Abdullahi Sule Nasarawa Adito. So there it is now. So it's a narrative now of measure for measure. Uh, uh, it's a narrative now of measure for measure. If anybody wants to come on. I'll be wrapping it up in about 5 minutes, unless anybody wants to come on and speak to it. So that's the link right there. I'll give you one more, and then if nobody turns up, we'll wrap it up, and then of course our evening session later. Let me give you this one. Let me give you this one, and then we'll wrap it up. Germany unveils easier citizenship laws for Nigerians, others. So this runs contrary now to what we have been seeing within the Western space. So it looks as though Germany, because what you have to understand is that places like Germany, they have a fast aging population and they have a very low birth rate. So in order to keep their and the population has to be kept at a certain level for the country to continue to be productive. So in order that those levels have in order for those levels to be met, they have to necessarily import people. So there it is. It's to open up citizenship. Germany unveils easier citizenship laws for Nigerians. Others. Germany's federal parliament has approved the provision of dual citizenship and naturalization to non-EU immigrants after 5 years of residence. The government says the law should help make Germany more attractive to skilled workers internationally. This move comes as efforts to ease the process of obtaining German citizenship strengthens to encouraging willing migrants from countries outside the Central Europe, from countries outside Central Europe, including Nigerians who are highly employed in Germany at a rate second only to Pakistan. So, I'm not quite sure what that means. Let's reread that. This move comes as efforts to ease the process for obtaining German citizenship as strengthened to encourage willing migrants from countries outside Central Europe, including Nigerians who are highly employed in Germany at rate second only to Pakistan. So I'm not they are not saying they are not saying that Nigerians are the largest number of migrants, the second largest number of migrants are second to Pakistan. What they are saying is that in the new wave of migration, Nigerians in employment are only second to the Pakistan in terms of their contribution to the German economy. So that's my reading of that. Um, as per the new law, immigrants who have legally lived in Germany for up to 5 years will be allowed to apply for citizenship rather than the current 8 or 6 years. And if specially recognized for being exceptionally well integrated, may be given after 3 years. This includes children born in Germany to at least one parent who has been living legally in the country for 5 or more years, as they will automatically get a German citizenship. Older immigrants, precisely above the age of 67, will take an oral German language test rather than a written one. Olive Schulz, Chancellor of Social Democrats, put forward the bill, which received votes from the Free Democrats and the Green Party, which makes up the ruling coalition party. With the new citizenship law, we are saying to all those who have often lived and worked in Germany for decades, who abide by our laws, who are at home here, you belong to Germany. There are certain exceptions to this policy, however, as people living entirely on state support will not be eligible for German citizenship. So there it is right there. So a lot of these people that have gone to Germany and have over exploited their social security system, thinking that the Germans are Mugun. So who is the Mugun now? There are certain exceptions to this policy, however, as people living entirely on state support will not be eligible for German citizenship. It will also be denied for people who have committed anti-Semitic, racist, xenophobic, or other defamatory offenses that are seen to be unreconcilable with the commitment to the free democratic basic order. According to the legislation, immigrants from non-EU states, including other African nations, would also be allowed to possess multiple citizenship. Speaking on this, Rahim something or the other expressed that Germany is not the pioneer of dual citizenship in Europe. As such, exists in other countries in the world. Two passports is the most normal thing in the world in 2024 and has long been a reality in most countries. In Germany, dual citizenship has been permitted for certain groups of individuals only. This includes citizens of EU and Switzerland, individuals whose country of origin does not allow them to renounce their citizenship, such as those from Afghanistan, Iran, and Morocco, Individuals who have both German and other citizenship, refugees who face persecution in their home country and Israelis, Syrian refugees who have integrated well into Germany may also be eligible for fast track German citizenship. The bill, however, did not go well with all legislators. Out of 639 votes cast in Parliament, 382 were in support of the bill, whilst 234 were not, with 23 lawmakers abstaining. The main center right opposition bloc criticized the project and argued it would cheapen German citizenship, demanding amendments to preserve the value of German citizenship. So those are the Socialist Party. You know who they are now. Let's not talk too much. German citizenship is something very precious and only should be treated and one should treat it very carefully. As some right winger said, the far right anti-immigration alternative for German party also opposed. So of course the far right. So there it is right there. So that's the goings on then in Germany. So that is the goings on then in Germany. So I think that's sufficient enough to do that. Nobody coming on. So let me wrap it up. So I'll leave it here. Carry the conversation on with you, and we'll do this again tomorrow. Again, by the way, a short little soap song or just to catch up with odd bits and bobs, oddities in the news. So I'll leave it here. Carry conversation with you in the comment section. But here I say peace.